go elsewhere too? Or is
That can go just so it's right there.
all right.
We'll go. This will be a shorter.
Actually, we might just get going for an hour.
Oh.
Because once we start talking, I bet.
Did you interview him 2 years ago?
I remember.
What I said.
Yeah, yeah. And it actually was fun.
He was like, I don't have anything to say. I'm like,
He
what are you
just-
talking
that's what he
about?
That's what he just said.
Oh, he was great.
He said, "Oh my God, you probably got a lot to say."
Well, we will
When I
give.
saw that, I thought that would be a great thing for you to do, but maybe 30. And maybe terrible. Terrible. Curtis is great at that. Excellent. But it was embarrassing. I was embarrassed.
And then half the house is paper.
Remember I said?
You were right.
And then they had those sides closed off. They didn't even need the sides. Weird.
Feel bad for the honorees.
Pardon me.
I know.
I act as guest and radio engineer. I got to get that mic up.
It's obsessing. Are they good?
I think we're good. Jaime, are you good?
I was
Oh,
gonna say, I'm
okay,
probably
okay.
Yeah, we're gonna go. As soon as this, we're gonna pack up.
Oh, go. Oh, okay. Then I'll wait.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, ready?
This is what we face each other. Yes.
We do.
Ignore that thing
You've
over
just
there.
been watching that, so of course. Here we go. Radio on Main Street at NAB 2025. Hi, I'm Mike Hulvey from the RAB, the president and CEO, and we have been over the last 14 weeks providing great content for you, some behind the scenes, thought leaders in the industry. Today, what you're going to get is kind of an inside look behind the scenes of our podcast series, but we're going to talk about technology. Bill, thank you very much for being with us.
Pleasure to be here, Mike. Thanks for the invite.
Well, if you weren't here, we wouldn't be here because ENCO has been such a great partner. Again, Erica Farber and the team a number of years ago had this idea that germinated from conversations, and it's just been such a great partnership. We're on Main Street here inside the West Hall at the convention center as the table spins around.
Need a wrench on this.
And then we've been able to provide really insightful and informative conversations for the industry. But for you, what the audience doesn't see, if the camera would spin around, are all the people that watch as the production of the podcast occurs. But it's a benefit for ENCO because we are the demonstration models.
Exactly. You're kind of like the live props for the, we bring the technology, but you got to use it for something, right? So it's a neat hybrid, radio and television.
In other parts of the complex, there are sets. Camera companies have these sets set up, and they hire actors to come in. There's a Jeep. There's a jungle scene. There's someone cutting clothing at a haberdashery, and it's all about different lighting and tones. And we are those models.
Yeah,
we've been those models for you for this period of time at NAB and then into our podcast series. So.
Well, it's a fun aspect. I mean, ENCO's roots are in radio, right? And of course, so we've had a love of radio for decades, and that was where right out of high school, my career started in radio. And so, as television has became more and more of what ENCO does as well, increasing what we do, still keeping with radio. What a unique hybrid this is. Here we are in virtual production, using powerful computer graphics and three-dimensional virtualization of imagery and stuff for messaging about radio. So, anyway.
Well, what we remind our members and what we remind radio in general that, hey, never forget that we're in the entertainment business. Yeah. We're in the show business. And this partnership is a reinforcement of that core concept.
It really is. It's multidimensional. I mean, certainly stations, a lot of them have been working with visual radio for a long time, right? And trying to grow the visual aspects of radio because there's so much content with voice, but that's just voice. You could maybe, depending on your programming, augment it with video. And so a lot of broadcasters for radio are doing that. Yeah.
Well, what do you do in your day job? So here at NAB, you've been very helpful on the back end. All of our podcasts would not be possible with you and your team. So we start with that. But the technology that you're seeing in the audio space, obviously in the television space, but What's happening in your day job as ENCO and technology evolve?
ENCO is definitely a team effort. And so in our roots in automation, again, like I said, for radio, and then we've evolved it for television, for automated captioning, for generative AI, text and copy creation for radio, and then synthetic voice creation now for radio, and re-speaking of one voice into another voice. We're really embracing AI to help create more tools for content creators across the spectrum. So at ENCO, we've got a lot of people putting on their hats for like product development, business development, engineering, software writing, and building computers and servers and getting them out the door, and then other folks supporting 24/7 our customers when they have questions.
All right, so this is a mind blower. When we arrived the first day for setup here at NAB, you had said, look at this QR code that we have available in the booth, and it's set up on one of the superstructures. Actually, they're in two places. And you asked me, you said this, how do you serve the deaf in radio?
Yeah.
And silence, because that's a challenge that an audio platform has. And then you said, let me show you something. Explain to the audience what you showed me.
Sure, okay. Well, it's interesting because when I joined ENCO, I became much more familiar with automated captioning, creating text from voice, so people can read what's being heard on air or particularly in television. But with the radio background, I thought, well, it's just voice. Why can't that text be created for listeners on radio as well? Now, of course, radio, it's just audio, right? No, it's more than that anymore. There are websites and smartphones that have apps for radio stations. So there are places that you can put the captions or transcripts or live text from people's audio conversations. And so we have an app that we've launched here at NAB, and I'm grateful to be the product developer or manager for it to launch this now this week. And we call it InTranslate Mobile. And what that does is it's based on our core translation software called InTranslate, and it takes live audio and converts it to text via an AI engine, and then it converts that, in this case, to 6 more languages, all that are available via a web app. And so you just aim your phone at a QR code that instantly takes you to the website, whereas you've got 7 languages, English and 6 others to choose from, to watch what we're saying.
Yeah, so as a demonstration, there has been people around the booth this week, that is, they have listened to a podcast being produced, they've read it.
Exactly.
In one of 6 different languages.
Yeah, isn't that cool? And the thing is, that's also a transcript that is permanent. So imagine sometimes live events, radio interviews on remotes or something like that, and you have a great interview with somebody. Well, okay, you've got the audio of that, but what was actually said, you can find these nuggets in a conversation. Let's say you and I talked for an hour and you said the word elevator. Okay, well, where did you say that word, right? Mm-hmm. Well, with a text document, a transcript, you can easily search and find it and jump right into the audio. And you could also have these interview programs that can easily be available as transcripts to your listeners on a website later. So not everybody can maybe listen to audio, or maybe, again, like you said, deaf or hard of hearing, but they can read along the transcript, and they can still benefit.
Incredible. And again, you're the developer of it, so...
Well, it's a team. It's a team.
Like RAB, everything's a team.
Yeah. And we're learning, because of course now that we've unveiled this, we're getting lots of feedback and ideas from other people here, so stuff we would have never thought of until you launch something, and then you're like, wow, yeah, we could do that too. So,
and now you have something to do the week following the
yes,
show.
Yes, besides take a couple naps.
Yeah, a couple naps in your future. All right, couple of questions before we wrap up. One, I know you are passionate about next gen, and I'm not talking about technology, which you are, but next gen in terms of those individuals coming into our space and coming into our industry. You and I have had a number of conversations about your passion for engineers and working with students who have a passion for engineering. One of the things that we've done here is you have participated, the RAB, the industry leaders have provided scholarships to this conference and have been for the last 10 plus years. We have over 100 college students who are here because their registrations were paid for by radio broadcasters. Wow. Their T&E paid for by radio broadcasters to be here so that they can see the future, they can understand they have a role in the future. What's your message to those groups of people, from a radio perspective or a technology perspective?
So radio needs engineers, and I'm honored to be on the board of the Association of Public Radio Engineers, and we just had our conference a couple of days ago, the Public Radio Engineering Conference, and it's the topic that is on everyone's mind. It's at the forefront of every conversation, it seems, is how do we excite students, and you can't wait till college or even high school sometimes. People start choosing their career paths very early in their learning experience. And engineering from broadcast is a stable job. It's necessary. There are never enough engineers to do it, and it can be a lot of fun. I mean, for example, like when I got into broadcasting, it was because a weather guy in Detroit, where I grew up, came to our high school during our senior year to talk about, in fact, doing the weather forecast in front of green screens. And so he showed us.
Here we are.
Yeah, exactly. I know, right? Decades later. And he had some videotape that he showed of us what it looked like with and without, the effects and the, computer-generated graphics around him. And that was fascinating that you could do all that and then help thousands of people listen or review this in real time. And that's what I think engineers, we need to learn how to more excite students into, late middle school, early high school, that they can be a part of that. And creating a technology and maintaining a technology, building a technology that enables mass communications in real time, which is so exciting. So
right,
that's always the challenge, how to let them know it's exciting.
And there is a future.
Oh,
Headline
yes.
screaming.
Big time.
Big time future.
Yeah.
Keep food on the table, be a radio engineer.
Right.
100%. All right, last question. What are you most excited about?
Nothing getting boring. I mean, I think 2 years ago AI was like this novelty, right? And then people have started realizing we could do actually productive things with it and create useful content, not just cute kitty pictures, which is fun, by the way. And so now we're learning how to utilize that, how to fingerprint voices. In our automated captioning stuff, that both for television and really for radio, we can now fingerprint people's voices so that when they talk, the AI knows it's them and it puts their name in front of the words that they are saying, which could be very interesting, a transcript for a conversation, whether it's radio or TV. So I think AI is a tool that is giving us a lot more opportunity to get creative and help augment current on-air staff to do more. So I think that's kind of one of the exciting things. I mean, if you're in the technology business, which in broadcasting we are, there's never a dull moment, and there's always something new. And this at NAB is the mecca of all that. Each year, there's something new.
Well, I'm excited for NAB 2026 and to see what's new, how we're going to engage. We'll be back in the Radio on Main Street podcast studio.
Yep. And even bigger virtual studios, I'm sure.
And who knows what it's going to look like.
Indeed. And it's less than a year away.
It is less than a year away. Bill, thank you so much.
Oh, Mike, thank you. It's been a pleasure.
We appreciate you.
Thanks for being with us all this time.
Thank you.
You betcha. See you next year.
Okay, good. Thank you, our